Hi, I'm Dara, and we've developed Plate Pro. And this is actually related to a personal struggle. Usually, I forget to use items in my fridge. I mean, the grocery items in my fridge, and they get bad. Or sometimes I go to the grocery store to restock on items that I already have in my fridge. So, what we have done is to build Plate Pro in a way that it can track all of the grocery items that you have in your fridge, send you reminder when they are close to expiring, and also recommend different recipe for you for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, for example. So yeah, let's look at some of the cool features that we have. In the dashboard, you're able to see all of the items that you have in your fridge, like this, you have 16 in here. And then you're also able to see the number of items that are expiring this week. And then here is where you scan your receipt. So the way it works is every time you get back from like a grocery run, for example, you can click on scan a receipt, which takes you to a form, and then you can use the form to scan or maybe to upload if you have already taken the picture. If you use this on your phone, it will allow you use your camera to take a picture or to scan. Another cool feature that we have is the suggested meal section, where if you go to your recipe, if you click on one of the recipe you have, you can click on the suggest a meal button that then generates a recipe for you based on what you have in your fridge and the time of the day. Which means if you click on this button in the morning, then you're gonna get a breakfast suggestion. And if you click on it in the evening, you're gonna get a suggestion for dinner. And again, everything, all the magic happens in the dashboard. So when you click on the button, you see the result in here, right? The first time you come to this, it's gonna be blank until you click on that button. So clicking on the item on the recipe rather show you all of the information you need to prepare this. And all of it are AI generated. So we have been able to leverage most of the AI features in the system to build this out. So you're able to see the ingredients, you're able to see the instructions and the pictures. And then we also have this nice section that shows your grocery items that will be expiring soon. So most times this show all of the items that will be expiring in the same week. And then the last one, the last section here is the recipe section that is based on items in your fridge. So what we are doing here is to show you recommended recipe based off of items that you already have in your fridge. And then what we are showing you is how easy is it to cook. And this is showing easy, right? The number of servings and how much time it's going to take to prepare this particular recipe. A very nice feature here is the in the fridge feature, right? That shows you how many of the ingredients that you need you already have in your fridge. For example, in this case, you have three total items in your fridge that you need to make this recipe. And again, the instructions follow. If you go to the groceries section, you're able to see all of the fresh groceries that you have and then the expired ones. Clicking on them again, like I've shown before, shows you all of this information about the particular grocery, when it is expiring, the shelf life, when you got it, and the expiry date. You're also able to push this button to turn on and off notification because we have automations for that notify you, 3 days before expiring or the day that it expires. But if you turn this off, that means you don't want to get any notification. You're also able to check to mark this as unused or used. And you're able to edit the quantity. For example, if you use one of these items, you can change this to two. And again, we have this AI generated storage guide. And at the last section, you're able to see the receipt that this grocery item is extracted from. And then in the recipe page, this is where we manually show you, like this is where we manually upload different recipe. And remember, if you go to your dashboard, you're able to see a recommended recipe based on items that you have in your fridge. If you click on one of the recipe, for example, you're able to see a lot of information about, if you have any of the items in your fridge, the instructions on how to cook it, and the pictures. You can also click on this tab to navigate quicker. So all of this we have built using all of the AI field agents and deep matching. And I'm just going to show how the table is able to do all of this. So the first table here is the receipt table, right? So when you upload your receipt, what is going on is we have this field that then generates using the field agent. It generates and extracts all of the, I'm just going to show it quickly. It extracts all of the items in the receipt. So here is where we have all of the items in that particular receipt. And then we have an automation that takes over from there. So when that is populated, we have a script running, and then what we are doing is updating each of those items in the groceries table. So you're gonna see all of the items that we saw just now get added as a row in the groceries table. The groceries table is doing a lot of work. We have some static, variables that we get from the extraction. And then we also have field agent, a lot of field agents that's calculating how many days will it take for this particular item to get expired, generating images for each item, and how to store them, right? Because sometimes a lot of people also struggle with, oh, this particular thing, I don't know how to store it. So this helps you with suggestions on how to store them. And then we have formula fields that calculate if it has expired or not. And then, yeah, this also checks if the item has been processed. That means the field agent are done with generating, the information that you need for how to store them or the images. I think that is, yeah, and this used field is tracking when an item is used, and notification is tracking if you want to get a notification for a particular item or not. Then the next the next table here is the recipe table, where we kind of just use Omni to generate new recipe, or we manually just add new recipe. And then this is very interesting because in the groceries field, we use deep matching to now match these ingredients back to groceries. So this is how we know if you have any item in your fridge that is part of the ingredient. And then the instruction is also AI generated. We use the field agents for that. And then the suggested meal, we have the automation that works for that also. When you click on the button, we generate a breakfast or a lunch based on the time you click on the button. And then we update the table with that information. So we have been able to build this leveraging field agents, deep matching, image generation, all in the system. And yeah, it's been an amazing work doing this. And if anyone is interested, we are happy to clone a template and send it over. Thank you so much.